What's going on, guys? I'm Entity Maze, here with my review on the latest Pokemon Sun and Moon anime episode 46 for Shapeshifting Ditto, Find That Mon. Surprisingly, this episode had some plot details building up to the big plot, so get relaxed everyone, as I will now jump right into this. So the episode begins off with Lillie writing in her diary once again about the recent episode events. So it seems like this is replacing the narrator for this arc, which is a pretty nice touch if you ask me. Regardless, the next day, Ash and his classmates arrive at Aether Paradise upon an invitation by Lusamine, because she wants to see how Lillie is doing at school. Like, my god, she's actually really caring in this series. Will she actually turn into the monster we know from the games? That is a question which should be resolved by the end of this year. Regardless, when the gang arrive, Faba and Wick introduce them while Faba tries to get Nebby but fails miserably. I like how it's the comedic villain. But in the distance, disguised as Aether Paradise members are Team Rocket, which is revealed Faba gave him a job to help him out, which that actually is a good idea to get Team Rocket involved in this arc. Regardless, the gang then go inside Lusamine's mansion to eat some sweets, with Team Rocket being their personal maids too. But Lusamine herself is caught up in so much work that she can barely talk to them. So after this, Lillie decides to show the gang the conservation area, which was pretty cool to see showcased for the first time in the anime. But during this, they meet Professor Brunette, who then asks if they want to help her take care of some Dittos, which of course they accept. But one ends up escaping because Sophocles couldn't hold them. You ruin everything, my dude! Nah, joking, it's not his fault. But for the rest of this episode, we then see the gang trying to get Ditto while it's transforming into many other Pokemon because that's its ability. Like legit, all the scenes we saw in the preview for this episode was just the only things we saw regarding Ditto. In fact, this Ditto plot does not even take up half of the episode, but we'll get into more of my thoughts of that later. Regardless, Ash and his friends manage to get Ditto, it gets the vaccine, but in the labs of Aether Paradise, which looks so cool, Team Rocket find papers about Type Null, the Pokemon designed to battle Ultra Beasts. Nebby also teleports there, so they try to catch it, but they fail as much as Faba, who even joins the scene asking why Team Rocket are even there. But he ignored it and decided to include them in his plan, which the only info we get is that Faba actually doesn't want Lillie to get along / touch with Pokemon, and saying that if something triggered Lillie's memories back then, it's gonna be trouble. Oh, I cannot wait to hear more details, very exciting. But that pretty much ends off the episode, so let's move on to my overall thoughts of this story. Honestly, I only expected it to be nothing plot important, but with getting that information that Faba is working on something gets me very excited for future episodes, as honestly, he is a pretty cool villain. I love his personality too, and of course, I love the current build up of whatever this plot is. But despite the ending being pretty cool though, the main focus of this episode, aka the Ditto plot, was just meh. I mean, we've seen Ditto do this stuff many times before in the anime. Of course though, this is aimed at kids, so this could be their first time seeing Ditto in the anime, but still, this really didn't excite me. And like I said earlier on, this plot didn't even last half of the episode, despite the episode being advertised as a whole Ditto adventure. Hell, the stuff we saw longer on screen, aka the beginning and the end of this episode, was more interesting to me. I like seeing the Aether characters interact with the students. Don't get me wrong though, I'm not saying the Ditto plot was bad, I can see how people could enjoy it, but overall for me, it was just meh. But now, let's move on to how the animation looked and music felt. I always like to mention music, but firstly for the animation, it was fluid throughout the whole thing, and it was kind of interesting to see how Ditto moves. But the main highlight of this episode has to be the art style of the Aether Labs. Like seriously, that looked so cool. Almost reminds me of Black City from the Black and White games. But that's legit the only things I can pretty much say for the animation. So as for the music, my favourite highlights have to be the tune that played when the gang entered Lusamine's mansion. It felt so fitting for the setting and Lusamine's kind of style. And finally, the tune that played where the gang explored the conservation area for the first time was very nice to listen to. As for the rest of this episode though, the music was just decent. Finally, as for the comedy of this episode though, there wasn't that much, nor did it make me smile when there was some, but it was bearable. Overall, with everything I've said for this episode though, that leaves a rating of another 6.5 out of 10. I feel like some people could think this is a bit too generous, much like the previous episode, but hey, it's my opinion. But if you're curious which episode I like more, as they do have the same rating, I would put this one on top of the other thanks to the ending. Regardless, let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts on this episode are. I'd love to hear. But hey guys, next week's episode, oh, that looks so cool. Regardless, if you did enjoy this overall video though, be sure to leave a like and a subscribe for future Pokemon content. It helps out a ton. For now, this is Entity Maze, signing out.